about kind of your assessment on how things went. But let's do a little bit of background first, Dawn. Let's start with you. You founded SCVi and iLead Schools together with Amber Golden 13 years ago. Gosh, it's hard to believe it's already been 13 years. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about your why? Because that's so important in our organization. What were the reasons for founding a new school that then grew into a school network? And can you tell us a little bit about why you wanted to take on such a monumental task 13 years ago?
Well, Matt, you said that I have like over 30 years experience in education, and I do. A lot of that is in district schools, which I highly respect, and I loved my experience there. But it became apparent to me that there needed to be some educational options for kids and families. And so when I met Amber, we really wanted to have a very small school, one little small school that practiced project-based learning and social-emotional learning. Like, that's the foundation of everything that we've done. And as you know, the popularity of that grew and grew. And since then, we've branched out and created several other schools. But I think that that's really what my why is, just to be able to ensure that our families have educational choice, and that if their neighborhood school isn't working for them, that they have options to take their child to a school that might fit them better.
Absolutely. We've got half a dozen grocery stores to choose from. We've got all different kinds of fashion that we can choose from. But education needs to be a perfect fit for every student as well. And so I think making sure that parents have different options is really important. Amanda, let's talk about your why a little bit. You've got a long history as an educator with some of the local school districts here in town. What made you want to transition into working with iLead a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I think that not only along with Dawn, with the idea of choice, I think my why has always been to make a difference in the lives of those around me. And I think that what we really need to do to impact those around us is it starts with relationships, right? And so I spent 20 years working with districts, and I loved the districts I worked for, and I still have great friends and fond memories, and they're doing great things. But I just felt like the relationship piece was kind of taking a back seat to all the other demands that were happening. So I met Dawn and Amber, and I just felt this reawakening of my why. And so iLead is truly about taking care of each other and looking at the individual and building relationships. And it starts at the top with directors taking care of their facilitators, and then facilitators taking care of the learners. And I just love that I really feel like we truly are a family and we take care of each other. And so it just brought me back to that relationship piece and taking care of each other and making a difference.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and that flows from leadership to staff to the learners. Those relationships really are key. So, Dawn, you mentioned you wanted to provide an option, and I tell our school's story often, and we were initially intended as a one-off. You and Amber were going to open this one school in Castaic, but over the last decade, we've had tremendous organic growth. What do you attribute that to, with the intention to open one school, but then others reaching out to us and asking us to open a school in Lancaster and Agua Dulce, and then eventually leading to a second component of our network opening schools in other states? Why are parents looking for something different? What do you attribute that growth to?
Well, I attribute the growth to what I was talking about before, which is educational options. And I think that for some families, they're looking for a smaller learning community, education that's a little bit more personalized, and a place where they feel like they can really connect and make a difference in the lives of their own children and the other children. So since we were a community that was started by parents, we have a lot of parents who are involved in the classroom. Sometimes you can't even tell who the facilitators are and who the parents are, quite frankly. And I think it is just really the going with what the learners really need and looking at their strengths instead of just weaknesses. This is the stuff I'm sharing with you is feedback that we've gotten from our family. So I'm just trying to, off the top of my head, remember what that is. And yeah, you know how it is.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, and I just want to say one thing, Matt. Our first one-off school was not in Castaic. It was actually on Smythe in
you're
Santa
right.
Clarita.
You're right. That was that was before my days even. You're absolutely right, and that was a campus right off of Smythe there that we outgrew in just 1 year, right?
Yes, we did. We started with probably about 75 kids. We ended the year with about 135, and the following year we had 450. So there was a need. I mean, families saw a need that they had for their own learners, and we hope that we filled that need for those kids.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, and Amanda touched on it as well, Santa Clarita is known for its amazing schools, but families did need that option, and clearly that type of growth demonstrates the demand for it. Now, we just wrapped up another school year, and with that, we had several graduations. You both attended various graduations across our network. We had a graduation at Empower Generations, which is our Center for Pregnant and Parenting Teens. iLead Exploration, I mentioned our homeschool program before, have held their graduation. Of course, SCVi, which was joined by graduates of iLead Online, as well as various of our other schools' 8th grade promotional events. Dawn, like everything you do, you and Amber and our amazing staff members that coordinate our graduations have been very intentional about planning these graduation celebrations to be very, very special. Can you talk for a little bit about our graduations? What makes them so special, and why is that such a priority for us?
Well, I'd say that one of the things that makes our graduation special is the same thing that makes our school special, which is it's very personalized. So when we have learners and we build relationships with them, we find out what their passions are, what they want to do in life, and who they are as people. And so when we do our graduation, we tend to talk about each one as they come up to get their diploma. And also they're a very small learning community. So the learners get very close to each other. And so it really becomes their ceremony, and they work with Cheryl Senna very hard to make sure that that ceremony expresses who they are and how they feel. And to me, that is what makes things special. In addition to that, we have learners who have been with us since kindergarten. And there's not a lot of schools that can say that. Mm-hmm. And we honor those as our founding students or our students who have gone all the way through from kindergarten through 12th grade, which really is saying something for their growth and development and maybe our growth and development as a school, too.
Yeah, definitely. And what an amazing opportunity. Those learners and families talk about those deep connections and really the blessing that it is to be able to attend one school from kindergarten through 12th grade and the things that they develop. And if you've never seen a SCVi in particular, if you've never seen an SCVi graduation, Google it. We've got some of the recordings on YouTube. I don't know that I've ever attended an SCVi graduation and walked away with dry eyes. It's just an amazing event. Now, Amanda, with graduation, we head into the summertime, but our campuses are not dark, are they? I understand that our schools have got a lot going on this summer. Can you tell us a little bit about what's happening maybe at SCVi and some of our other iLead campuses for the summer? What are our learners? What's going on at our campuses this summer, Amanda?
Sure. So over the summer, we are using some of our extended learning opportunity money, and we think it's super important to, again, focus on that social emotional component and bringing kids back together. So we have a large art program being offered for our students younger than 8th grade and younger at SCVi. So they'll come back, they'll actually put a production together. There's also one being offered at our Lancaster campus as well. And then in addition to that, we're offering some intervention for students that have had some learning loss and need to get caught back up.
Well, that is fantastic. I was talking to a friend of mine just yesterday who's an educational writer. He's got tremendous experience in education, and we were talking about this idea of learning loss, and it's a real thing. But much of that learning loss is caused by, as you mentioned, the social emotional loss that our kids experienced over this last year and a half. So that's great that you're addressing both of the needs. That is fantastic. We've got the bosses on the phone today, Dawn Evenson, CEO, and Amanda Fisher, Executive Director of iLead California. When we get back, I want to get their assessment on how our schools and all schools did during the pandemic. We'll be right back. I'm Matt Watson, and this is SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. You're listening to your hometown station, KHTS.
No contract pest control. Did you hear that? Yes, Unipest has no contract, low impact, affordable, and environmentally and family friendly pest control options with orange oil or other family friendly products. Whether it's ants, spiders, gophers, termites, or bed bugs, Unipest Termite and Pest Control has an effective, eco-friendly option for you. Call Unipest today for a free orange oil inspection at 661-BUG-7575 or visit unipest.com.
Experience Frontier Toyota's all-new hot and exciting Toyota lineup. Serving the Santa Clarita Valley for over 30 years. Frontier Toyota, the Camry, Corolla, and Prius Kings. They're tops in Tacoma and Tundra trucks. Frontier Toyota, the new way of car buying. Shop from home at frontiertoyota.com or visit their showroom at Valencia and Creekside. Discover a whole new car buying experience with your friends at Frontier Toyota.
Excellence isn't just a word, it is what we deliver. Vanguard Protection Group is committed to providing its clients with the highest echelon of protective services available. Our clients not only receive the security services they contract for, but also reports that are well-written, articulate, and thorough. Our patrol officers operate at the highest levels and have an impressive rapport with local law enforcement. With military, police, private policing, and courtroom experience, you can trust that we have the strength to deliver our promise of excellence. Contact Vanguard Protection by calling 661-753-3611 or visiting their website at vanguardprotectiongroup.com.
You already know Salt Creek Grill has the best food in our valley. Well, now you can have Salt Creek's gourmet meals catered to your event.
I'm Greg Amsler, owner of Salt Creek Grill. I'd like to introduce you to a new level of catering, featuring our catering director, Tamara Levine.
Salt Creek Grill creates memorable experiences, which leaves our clients and guests with a sense of awe and excitement. From menu development to picturesque presentation, you'll enjoy culinary excellence and creative catering.
Salt Creek Grill, a new level of catering.
Dutton Plumbing, it's Eric.
Son, it's Mother.
Mom, where have you been? I left 3 voicemail messages. We're supposed to be working on the Dutton Plumbing recruitment campaign.
Who answers their phone anymore? I text like everybody else, son.
You text?
Yes. Ernesto, my exotic dance class teacher, taught me how to text, among other things.
Wait, what? Exotic dance class? Mom? Anyway, we need more plumbers and techs to apply for work. Thanks to our $73 drain clearing, we just keep growing. We offer great pay, ongoing training, health insurance, 401k, even a batting cage for fun. We got to get the word out.
Well, why don't you let people apply for work by text? Make it fast and easy, son. Just like that college girl you used to date.
Mom?
Plumbers and techs. Now it's easy to apply for work at Dutton Plumbing. Just text the word MOM to 25000. You'll be asked some questions, and in less than 2 minutes, you'll be done. Again, text MOM to 25,000.
DuttonPlumbing.com. Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. Dawn Evenson and Amanda Fisher join me today. They are the CEO and Executive Director of iLead California, respectively. Amanda, I mentioned before the commercial break that I wanted to get your assessment on how our schools did during the pandemic, because it was a struggle for all schools, wasn't it? So reflecting back on the last 15, 16 months, how do you feel that our schools did, SCVi and our other iLead campuses?
I am so incredibly proud of the iLead team. You think back, it's been over a year since the governor, came out that Friday and said schools are going to be closed starting Monday. And we already had a team in place who had trained our staff on how to do distance learning. So our kids never experienced one day without instruction.
Oh, wow.
And just watching them, our facilitators, through the whole process, I think has been amazing. It was my hardest year as an educator ever. 24 years in education, and it was the hardest year because every week there was a change, right? We sat on these calls and we listened to the county department of public health saying, this is what's coming, this is what's coming. And so these poor facilitators and learners and families were on this roller coaster ride with us, waiting to see what was going to happen next. And they did a beautiful job. As soon as we were allowed to go back, we went back. I mean, we transitioned to hybrid, then we can transition to full time. And our families were provided with, again, choice. Like, do you want to go back? You have this option. If you don't want to, we'll continue to make sure you get just as good of an education being distant. So I'm just super proud of everything that happened in the I-Lead schools, all of them. I was doing the reflective supervision process with one of our directors, and she talked about all of the 21st century learning that these kids have learned through this year, from technology, Zoom and Google Classroom and Google Docs and Google Slides and Sheets, and, you know, and then going on to portfolios and Jamboards and Flip, just all of the things that our kids got from this as well. And the skills of time management and self-pacing and self-discipline and adaptability. We all learned adaptability,
right,
as well as in the area of academics, the creativity, the problem solving. So again, I'm just so proud of the I-Lead community and everything that they did to keep our kids learning this year.
That is fantastic to hear. Now, Dawn, you and I talked about this, but heading into the pandemic, I believe it was, you know, that third week in March, right when everybody had gone home, and you and I talked about the opportunity that education, the educational world had in front of us. This, I guess it was the whole kind of notion between the crisis opportunity, danger and opportunity, right? And you mentioned that we had the opportunity during the pandemic, during distance learning, during this change, to change how we do education. Now, as we start to look back on it, what's your assessment across the educational landscape? Did we, I hate to say take advantage of a pandemic because it was a terrible time, but did we seize kind of that opportunity to move the dial enough, do you think?
I think that's a really good question, Matt. And I think we have to remember, first of all, that change is a process. And actually, we're still in that process. I think right now it's, you know, readjusting and going back on campus full time after essentially almost a year off. So I think that Amanda talked a lot about what our learners got out of it. I also think that as a society, we learned to pay attention a little bit more to our wellness and maybe try to hit the mark on balance a little bit more. I think our facilitators learned to really dial in. I mean, they've always done this, but just kind of fine-tune, dialing in and finding the gaps in student learning so that we could bring up their academic progress. And we absolutely saw that when we did our math assessments. Our kids performed very well.
So you're talking about our internal assessments.
Yes, I am. So I also wanted to say that I think as an organization, and this is happening across the United States, but as an organization, a school organization, we've also learned that you don't have to be in an office to do your job.
Right.
That, like, learning, it happens everywhere. Work can happen everywhere. So as I sit on the side of the road in in Montana near Missoula.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're here for my husband's birthday. I can't stop this call without saying happy birthday to Dave, his 60th birthday, and he's really wanted to make this trip. So
happy birthday,
anyway, Dave! As it is, we can work anywhere and get an awful lot accomplished. So working with our staff to say, okay, can we do your job 2 or 3 days a week in office, and then at home you can, you know, really focus on the things that you need to do on your own that don't require the same level of collaboration. And I think we've come out with a pretty good balance. and also working with our staff on measuring their own wellness and trying to get some balance in their life. Because if you know anything, and I know you do, Matt, you know anything about educators, they give their heart and soul to their job. And that's not always healthy for them. I mean, it's great for the kids, but there is a time when I think they have to kind of focus on themselves and what their needs are and make sure they're taking care of themselves, like putting on the mask on an airplane before you can help others.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, I got together with some friends from our schools on that very last day of school just to kind of celebrate the end of the school year. And it's funny, when I walked into Nicole Padovich's backyard, our staff, our facilitators, they reminded me a lot of that Salvador Dali picture of the clocks that had just like melted all over the landscape. They were just all kind of flopped onto the patio furniture there in Nicole's backyard. It was, they were just wiped out. But you're right, they did give kind of everything they had, and it was inspiring. But gosh, it's time for them to take care of themselves. Speaking of taking care of our staff and our learners, Amanda, you touched on it a little bit. Another one of the unique things that we do at iLead is we really focus on personalized individual growth. Can you tell our learners a little bit about the process behind ILPs, similar to IEPs, right? But the whole process of learners or our students going through an ILP process that then culminates at the end of the year with their showcases of presentation.
Sure. Again, iLead's big focus is the whole child. So we focus on both the social, emotional, and the academic. So instead of having the traditional parent-teacher conferences where in place of that, we have learner, facilitators, and parents who collaborate. They create an individualized learning plan. They have a social emotional goal, and then they have 2 academic goals that guide their instruction for the year. Everyone works together to reflect on it. It's really important that our learners are taking responsibility for their own learning, and so they have to be active participants in this process. So again, setting the goals, achieving the goals, they're a part all through it, along with the families. And just the uniqueness of working to attain all of those throughout the year. At the end of the year, our learners have a learner-led showcase. This is one of my favorite things because it makes the kids reflect on their whole year of learning, and they have an opportunity. They can use their ILP, and they have to put together a presentation on what they've learned for the year. Not only do our kids do this, but all of our staff do this. So at each site, we hold a showcase that the facilitators, the director, they have to showcase what they've learned. And even those of us, the executive directors, and those of us that are the support directors, we all do this as well. So we can show our growth for the year because, as we know, it's lifelong learning. And so that's what we're modeling for everyone.
Absolutely, and I'm looking forward to presenting. I've got my showcase presentation coming up on Tuesday. So yeah, it's just a great way for everyone to set goals that are just hyper individualized and then manage those goals as you grow throughout the year and then present publicly your growth, what you learned, what you did throughout the course of that year. And I love that we do that with our learners, with our staff, with our teaching staff, with our clerical staff, our facility staff. Everybody in our organization is on an ILP and reflects on their learning throughout the year. Let's shift the conversation a little bit. We try not to get too political, but with as much money and time and effort that's spent on education, it's impossible to do education without wading into the political a little bit. Dawn, recently we've been talking a lot about this bill that was introduced in Sacramento, Assembly Bill 1316. Can you talk about that bill a little bit? What kind of happened? What was that bill all about? I know it was something that was pushing back on charters. So can you give us some background on that bill? What happened, and then why do you think people are pushing back against charters?
So the bill that came out, like other bills, were designed really to kind of attack charter schools, so to speak. They were in. I think that the reason that those bills were made is because, like in any organization, any business, any public service, there were a couple of bad actors. meaning that there were charter schools that were taking advantage of the freedoms that we had for innovation and instead using the freedom to make money off of the schools. So as a nonprofit, iLead does not do that, and it's well known that we are a very good and strong organization. However, when they make a law, it affects all charter schools. And so it was a blatant attack on independent study in particular. And some of our schools are independent study, and for good reason. We have a large homeschool population. We also have our pregnant parenting teens, which is an independent study school. Right. And that's to give those learners the flexibility to come in when they can and be home with their baby when they need to, but still be able to do their work, kind of a hybrid, sort of what we all went through last year. And so it was an attack on those, and it was going to change the landscape of charter schools for sure, and all independent study programs in the state. Many parents shared their disfavor for this legislation, and they called relentlessly up to the legislature and voiced their opinion. There were also demonstrations, people standing on the side of the street and saying that they support their charter school and that they want that freedom of school choice. And so we did see that bill went away. I think there are some guidelines that they're going to be putting in place that will maybe help prevent what happened before with those charter schools that did things that were unscrupulous.
Right.
And so hopefully we can learn to and just navigate around that.
And kind of weed out some of those bad actors that you mentioned without
Absolutely.
throwing the baby out with the bathwater as you would. And you know, I remember that. It seemed like it seemed like we were really up against it, right? That we didn't have a ton of hope, but families, individuals called, made their voices heard, and that 1, 2, 3 voices, they add up, and people really did make their wishes known and cause that change in Sacramento, and we're so grateful for that. And Amanda, you know, in response to this pushback, I know you didn't take up a defensive position, did you? You kind of stepped up, and you're working on a new independent study program up in the Antelope Valley, aren't you? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So again, because charters are under attack and it's constantly changing, that we just wanted to be proactive. And so some of the things that were called out were, you know, more irregular check-ins, because right now the law says you only have to check in once every 20 days. And so what we did is we created a brand new independent study pod through our independent study charter, which is iLead Hybrid, in the Antelope Valley. And we're focused on project-based learning, social emotional learning. We have spots available if anyone is interested in this homeschool model. And the check-ins, you'll check in weekly with a facilitator. That doesn't mean in person. It's not going back to old ways. You know, we can check in via phone. We can check in via computer. You'll be given computer and curriculum, project-based curriculum. We'll design an individual project that incorporates the California content standards. And then there'll be the opportunity to take some of those vendor courses that are so beloved by so many. But I'm super excited about it. And again, if you're interested, please go to our website, and there's information, and you can enroll.
And again, that's ileadschools.org. You can find out more information about that independent study program in the Antelope Valley, or any of our classroom-based or other virtual schools. Dawn and Amanda, thank you so much for calling in this morning. I know you've both got a lot going on, even in the summertime, so we appreciate you calling in. Have a great weekend, and happy birthday, Dave. We love you.
Happy birthday, Dave.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys take care. And you guys
All right.
stick
Thanks, Matt.
around. You are listening to SCVi and iLead Schools' Eye on the Valley. I am Matt Watson. We'll be right back with some fun with Big T on your hometown station, KHTS.
Get ready to discover a creative new way to have fun. Painting with a twist. We'll show you step by step how to make fun art, not fine art. It's painting, it's dancing, it's a party. Painting with a twist. It's a little bit of paint, a little bit of wine, and a whole lot of fun. Visit paintingwithatwist.com to find the studio nearest you.
Now located in the patios at Valencia Westfield Mall. Google Painting with a Twist Santa Clarita for a new kind of fun.
Save water and save money. SCV Water wants to help you find your fit and take advantage of conservation rebate programs that will help you save. Water your landscape more efficiently. Replace your lawn with water-wise plants. Conduct free in-home water surveys. Cover your swimming pool and more. Find the programs that fit your needs and start saving today. Visit conserve.yourscvwater.com to learn more.
That's conserve.yourscvwater.com.
If you need help at home or at the office, call Made For You. Made For You is a locally owned, bonded, and licensed cleaning service with over 20 years of experience. All employees are vetted for your protection. No need to buy products or equipment. The Made For You staff comes complete with everything needed to make your home or office cleaner than ever. Hire Made For You one time, as needed, or an ongoing basis. No room is off limits. Laundry and ironing services are also available. Call Made For You for a free estimate. 255-2922. That's 255-2922.
Are you looking for educational flexibility and choice? Look no further than your front door. iLead Exploration's independent study program is passionate about personalized learning. Our mission is to inspire learners to become creative problem solvers, compassionate leaders, conscientious collaborators, and responsible citizens who develop a lifelong love of learning. Our families partner with a credentialed teacher to customize each child's educational path. Families access community partners to choose a variety of in-person, online, and at-home options to create an optimal learning environment for each learner. Our program also values community, and through a variety of field studies, service projects, park days, and family gatherings, we provide many opportunities to foster friendships. Because there are currently in-person limitations due to COVID, we are offering activities online through webinars and virtual field trips. iLead Exploration is a tuition-free, independent study charter school program serving grades TK through 12 in Los Angeles, Orange, Kern, San Bernardino, and Ventura counties. To learn more about our program, visit iLeadExploration.org. iLead Schools, free to think, inspired to lead.
When you hire a CPA firm, you want a firm that can offer personal services and advice from experienced partner CPAs who provide timely and effective services. You need a firm that has decades of experience using new and developing technology to not only help you improve your processes and bottom line, but also to keep your accounting and tax return bills from going out of control. You need a firm that can help you negotiate the difficulties of the economy, cash flow issues, internal controls, fraud prevention and detection, and much more. Denny & Company, LLP. CPAs that make life less taxing. Call 286-8860. 286-8860.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. And if you're watching us on the Facebook Live feed, which is back up now, by the way, you will notice that I've been joined by lovely intern Emily. She's going to be playing trivia with us this break, because now it is time for Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame. You all know Big T. He is a longtime resident and leader in the Santa Clarita Valley. He's an executive and philanthropist, and recently off a stint in the Mile High City, came home to be a disappointed doggy daddy. His doggy tore up the backyard pool. He's Mom's favorite. Big T, welcome to the show.
Aww. What's up, Maddie?
I'm doing well. Say hello to Emily.
Good morning, Emily. Welcome to the show.
Emily's been watching us the last couple of weeks and decided that, she can kick our butts, so she's going to step into the microphone and she's going to take us.
Well, let's get it cracking.
All righty.
Summer theme this morning. I've got some trivia, got some movie quotes, got some song titles. We ready?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Which vitamin can you get from direct sunlight?
Patty. Ooh.
I heard Patty first.
So did I.
Vitamin D. Vitamin D is correct.
There you go.
On board. Which public service animal was first introduced to the U.S. in the summer of 1944 to raise awareness about forest fires?
Frogger.
Oh. Frogger.
That would be Smokey the Bear.
Smokey the Bear. Only you can prevent forest fires.
Only me. That's right.
Only you and you alone.
Now, do you know Tony, do you know Smokey the Bear's counterpart in England?
No, Matt.
It's Smacky the Frog.
Gotcha. The month of July was named after which historical
Frogger.
person? Frogger.
Julius Caesar.
Correct.
August named after his son Augustus.
Oh, yeah, huh?
Yep.
Which holiday unofficially implies the end of summer?
Frogger.
Frogger.
That'd be Memorial Day.
Incorrect.
Patty?
End of summer. Patty.
Is Labor Day?
Labor Day is correct.
Oh, good poll.
Hey, Emily, is your microphone on?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, just checking. What does STF stand for?
STF?
Say again. What does what stand for?
SPF.
Oh.
It's on sunscreen.
Frogger.
Frogger.
Oh.
That would be, I think it's skin protection factor.
Oh, SPF.
Incorrect.
Oh, no.
I have no idea.
Patty, Emily, anybody?
I got nothing.
Sun protection factor.
Oh.
True or false?
Patty.
Frogger. Typical. Patty.
I see you. I got
Ben
first.
Frogger.
This is true.
It is true. A
Yes!
typical Chicago-style hot dog has tomato slices on it.
It does.
Speaking of hot dogs, which president hosted the first barbecue at the White House?
Patty?
Patty.
Was this Teddy Roosevelt?
That's a good
Incorrect.
guess. Frogger.
Frogger.
I'm going with Eisenhower.
Incorrect. Emily, you got one?
No, I have no idea.
Pick a president. Come on.
All right. LBJ. Lyndon Baines Johnson.
I just love his
Doyer
initials.
dog wrapped in?
Say again?
What is a Doyer dog wrapped in?
Oh, Frogger.
Frogger.
So it's got a bun, but it's also got, I think, jalapenos and onions.
What's the dog wrapped in?
Patty?
Oh.
Patty?
Considering I've never had one before, bacon.
Bacon is correct.
Ooh, and I've never had one.
True or false?
Patty.
Frogger.
A watermelon. Patty.
True.
It is true. A watermelon is 90% water.
Okay.
Where is Nathan's annual 4th of July
Frogger.
hot dog eating? Frogger.
Coney Island, New York.
Coney Island is correct. All right, we got some movie quotes.
Okay, here we go.
Summer movie quotes.
All right.
Oh, this is the worst. Oh, this is the worst looking hat I ever saw. When you buy a hat
Frogger.
like this, you get a free bowl of soup.
Frogger. That's Caddyshack.
That is Caddyshack.
Yeah, it is.
We apologize to our younger audience.
I know that one, though. I know that movie.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
Frogger.
Patty.
Frogger than Patty.
So I've got Dirty Dancing.
That is correct.
I just took the lead.
Bodie, this is your wake-up
Frogger.
call. Frogger.
I am an FBI agent. That is Point Break.
Correct.
And how Keanu Reeves did not win an Oscar for that role, I will I'm just kidding.
If you vote for me, it'll be summer all year long.
Frogger.
Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh,
Frogger,
that's
sorry.
what I was going with. Jeez. A little bit of wait time.
All right.
No, I get it.
Hey, gotta be quick.
We got to have turnover.
You take drugs, Danny?
Frogger.
Oh, my.
Frogger.
Oh, I know that one.
Every day. Oh, I mean, that is also Caddyshack.
Yep. Excuse the impersonation, but it goes with the movie. Tonight, he will make that faithful walk to the loneliest spot in the world, the pitching mound at Yankee Stadium, to push the sun back
Patty?
into the sky. Patty.
Sandlot?
Incorrect.
Dang it.
Matt? Push the sun back and give us one more day of summer. That's Vince
The
Scully
Natural?
For the love of the game.
Oh, okay.
No, for the love of the game.
Hmm.
Vaya con Dios, brah.
Frogger.
Frogger.
That's also Point Break.
That is Point Break again.
We got some repeats here.
Yes, we do.
Yep. You're killing me, Smalls.
Patty.
Patty.
That's Sandlot. I know that one for sure.
That is correct. Mr. Shoop, are you in this class too?
Frogger.
Frogger.
That is Summer School. And if you haven't seen it, you got to check it out.
I haven't.
Early 90s, amazing movie.
All right. Summer song lyrics. Here we go. Summer loving.
Patty, I knew it, Patty. I knew you were the first thing. Grease. That's Grease.
Grease. What song?
Summer loving, having a blast.
We'll give it to you, Patty. Summer Nights.
Well, yeah, but but I don't know the title. I know that song.
School is out and it's a sort of a buzz, but back
Frogger.
then I didn't really know what Frogger.
It's summertime. Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
That is correct.
We love it, Big Willie style.
Oh, when I look back now, that summer seemed to last forever. And if I had my choice, yeah, I'd always want to be there. Those were the best days of my life.
Frogger.
Frogger.
That was the summer of '69. Brian Adams.
correct.
Again, some of these are tailored to the older crowd, Emily.
A little bit.
I know. The West Coast had the sunshine, and the girls all get so tan.
Frogger.
Watch
which way I go here. That is California Girls by David Lee Roth.
That is correct.
Also, maybe the Beach Boys.
Nobody on the road, nobody on the beach. I feel it in the air. The summer's out of reach.
Frogger. Don Henley, The Boys of Summer.
That is correct. If everybody had an ocean across the USA, then everybody'd be surfing like California.
Frogger. That's Surfing USA by the Beach Boys. Big T.
That's correct. That one was.
I'm just dusting these youngsters in here, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. We're gonna call the mercy rule. But as always, thanks for popping by. Stick around. We've got Assemblywoman Suzette Martinez-Valladares coming up next hour. I am Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVi and I Lead Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS.
Mend Cryotherapy is open. They have amazing specials, including the $99 Performance Package, which includes a cryo session, pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, which boosts recovery of damaged cells, the aromatherapy oxygen bar, NuCalm, and infrared sauna. There's also a beauty package with a cryofacial, infrared sauna, and more. Mend Cryotherapy is open Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Go to Mend, M-E-N-D, cryotherapy.com on Newhall Ranch Road in the Gateway Shopping Center.
Loss of hearing can affect the quality of life. Santa Clarita Hearing Center can help. They specialize in both preventative hearing loss and corrective measures, including diagnostic tests, new technology hearing aids, cochlear implants, hearing protection, and tinnitus treatment. They can adjust your current hearing aids or fit you for new ones. Santa Clarita Hearing Center also offers sleep molds, swim molds, and musician monitors. Book an appointment today. Log on to SantaClaritaHearingCenter.com, located on McBean Parkway next to the hospital. That's SantaClaritaHearingCenter.com.
Summer is here. Why not cool off with a new Dunkin' Refresher? Choose from lemonade, green tea, or coconut milk with strawberry, peach, or blueberry flavor. Limited time offer, only $3 for a medium-sized drink. Dunkin' also has new all-day sandwiches and new donut varieties. Order ahead with the Dunkin' app and accumulate points. Located on Bouquet Canyon in the Lowe's Shopping Center and on Sierra Highway in Canyon Country, both with curbside pickup, Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub, and Postmates, or use the drive-thru at Sierra Highway. Santa Clarita runs on Dunkin'.
Why did Mercedes-Benz of Valencia win the Dealer of Excellence Award in 2019?
Because we strive to provide the most outstanding sales experience.
Mercedes-Benz of Valencia COO Chris Paz.
We know you have high expectations. Our stellar team will meet and exceed your expectations. That's why we were named Mercedes Best of the Best, placing us in the top 10% of all Mercedes dealers nationwide.
Find out how you can lease a new Mercedes for unbelievably low monthly payments. Details at mbzvalencia.com.
Traffic brought to you by the law firm of Owen Patterson Owen, helping Santa Clarita drivers recover from life-changing accidents for over 3 decades. Owen Patterson Owen, encouraging you to drive safely. Visit opolaw.com.
KHTS AM 1220 and 98.1 FM Santa Clarita. It's 9 o'clock. Time for national news on KHTS.
A massive rescue effort. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. Emergency crews continue their efforts to find possible survivors in the rubble from yesterday's partial collapse of a 12-story condo complex in Surfside, Florida.
A full night of searching has yielded some very unwanted results here in Surfside at the scene of the Champlain South Tower condo.
We can tragically report the death count is now 4.
And now also 159 people are unaccounted for. The giant crane is still moving, heaps of debris crumbles in small batches while first responders continue using sonar to check for signs of life. There are still no reasons being publicly discussed as to what could have led to this 12-story building collapsing, though already a lawsuit is filed and the plaintiffs are seeking class action status.
Fox's Eben Brown in Surfside, Florida. The Justice Department is suing Georgia over the state's voting laws, Attorney General Merrick Garland announcing the suit a short time ago. Earlier this month, Garland said the Justice Department would scrutinize a wave of new laws in Republican-controlled states that tighten voting rules. He pledged to take action if prosecutors found unlawful activity. Vice President Kamala Harris is in El Paso, Texas, visiting border and migrant facilities as the Biden administration deals with a continuing surge of border crossings.
The trip comes after months of calls from Republicans and Democrats to go to the border. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell tells Fox,
"At least the administration feels it's important enough to send the vice president down there, but I think the proof will not be in the visit, but in the policy."
White House Communications Director Kate Bedingfield says no new policy announcements are expected during the visit.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland at the White House. The Canadian government today officially naming the U.S.-based right-wing militia group 3 Percenters a terrorist entity. Officials say the group had an active presence in Canada and could threaten national security. America's listening to Fox News.
These are tough times, but it's even worse if you're stuck paying endless fees for a timeshare you were misled into buying.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, and now, more than ever, taking care of our physical and financial health has never been more important. If you were told that timeshare was a great investment or your maintenance fees will never go up, you need my help. In 2020, a lot of things have changed. One thing hasn't: our commitment to helping good folks just like you cancel your timeshare permanently. We've helped over 13,000 families completely eliminate their timeshare debt, saving them an average of $65,000 in lifetime timeshare payments. So call my office today. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call Wesley Financial Group now for your free information kit. 800-940-3322. 800-940-3322. 800-940-3322.
Former Vice President Mike Pence is defending his role in certifying the presidential election results.
Former Vice President Mike Pence has some words for those who insist he could have overturned the results of the 2020 election. Speaking at the Reagan Presidential Library yesterday, he said the Constitution doesn't give the VP that power.
There's almost no idea more un-American than the notion that any one person could choose the American president.
During the certification on January 6th, the mob of Trump supporters stormed the Capitol, some chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." President Joe Biden won the Electoral College on a 306 to 232 vote. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
A no spectator games remains an option for the Tokyo Olympics, which open officially in just 4 weeks. The president of the Tokyo Olympic Organizing Committee making that announcement today. It comes just 4 days after an announcement that up to 10,000 local fans would be allowed into venues. Many health officials are concerned about the potential for spreading coronavirus at the games. Russia is changing its vaccination rules as coronavirus cases rise there.
Russia's COVID outbreak appears to be getting worse. The country has recorded another 601 deaths, its highest daily count since January. There's been tepid demand for vaccines, prompting authorities to get tough. In some regions, shots are being made mandatory for workers in a host of sectors, including healthcare, education and retail. And in Moscow, businesses have been urged to suspend without pay employees unwilling to get vaccinated. In London, Simon Owen, Fox News.
Iran State TV is reporting that the country's supreme leader has received the first domestically developed coronavirus vaccine. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said he was not interested in receiving foreign-made vaccines. In January, Khamenei banned imports of the American and British vaccines, a reflection of mistrust toward the West. I'm Rich Dennison, and this is Fox News.
I'm Stuart Varney, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The S&P 500 has been trading in record territory. The Dow is also higher, though the Nasdaq turned lower. The University of Michigan's consumer sentiment reading was weaker this month. Those who responded expressed concerns about higher prices. Consumer spending held steady in May, even though stimulus payments were fading. However, a Federal Reserve inflation reading indicates prices in May saw the largest increase in decades. CarMax shares are rallying as earnings came in stronger than expected. the company says demand for used cars remains significant in recent months. There's a merger in manufacturing technology. Rockwell Automation is buying Plex Systems, which uses the cloud in automation. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
If you're tired of the old cable news, you now have a choice. It's Newsmax. Every minute, Newsmax gives you the real news you can trust. Watch people like Ben Carson, Mike Huckabee, Alan Dershowitz, Dick Morris, Nancy Brinker, Mike Reagan, Rudy Giuliani, and more. Newsmax is on all major cable systems or free on Roku, Zumo, Pluto, YouTube, and most smart TVs. Plus, download the free Newsmax app on your smartphone and start watching Newsmax now, America's trusted news source.
Thanks for listening to KHTS AM 1220, Canyon Country, California. K260CO 98.1 FM, Santa Clarita, California.
Accidents happen, but rest assured Patterson's Collision Center is here to help. Patterson's is a family-owned and operated collision repair facility providing the Santa Clarita Valley with premium collision repairs. Patterson's prides itself on being the only California-certified green repair shop in all of Santa Clarita. They are insurance claim specialists and even offer payment plans for your deductible. For personalized, friendly service, visit pattersonscollisioncenter.com or call 294-1011 and let Patterson's Collision Center help ease your worries today.
When you think about your next place, maybe even your forever place, are you hearing more of this and less of this? Introducing 5 Point Valencia, a vibrant new community coming to the Santa Clarita Valley. A place with parks, trails, and fresh architecture, all tuned to the way people want to live today. New homes for all, with prices to match, from the low 400,000s to over $1 million. Learn more at valencia.com.
Moms, dads, this is Carden Ellis, owner of Unipest. If your house has ants, spiders, or gophers, or you want a free orange oil termite inspection, you have to call Unipest Termite and Pest Control, Santa Clarita's only factory-certified orange oil pest control company. We specialize in organic, low-impact, and traditional pest control options that are all kid-friendly, pet-friendly, and affordable with no contracts, and we're SCVi owned and operated. Call us at 661-BUG-7575 or visit unipest.com.
Santa Clarita Valley residents now have greater access to the excellent physicians and high-quality medical services for which Providence Holy Cross is known. Providence Holy Cross Health Center in Santa Clarita features state-of-the-art cancer and imaging technologies, as well as board-certified physicians in a variety of medical specialties. Quality and compassion from a healthcare provider you can depend on. For more information, call 1-888-HEALING or visit us at providence.org.
The following is sponsored programming and does not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of KHTS or its ownership.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am Matt Watson, your host, and you're listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. Last hour, I was joined by my bosses, Dawn Evenson and Amanda Fisher. They are CEO and Executive Director of iLead California. Talked a lot about the personalized learning that goes on at SCVi, iLead Agua Dulce, all of our iLead schools. And, you know, I realize as we come out of this pandemic, a lot of things have shifted and a lot of folks are looking to make some changes in and perhaps even the schools that their kids are attending. And, you know, we're living in a beautiful time of school choice right now, or you have the option to send your kid to whatever school you think is best for their needs. And so if maybe it's time to make that switch as you're mulling things over the summer, maybe take a look at some of our schools. Like I said, our founding school, SCVi, is right off of Newhall Ranch Road. They are a transitional kindergarten through 12th grade campus. Dawn mentioned how amazing it was that we had a good handful of our learners, I think 4, maybe 6 learners that just graduated high school with us that had been with SCVi from kindergarten through 12th grade. It was a really cool experience for them. We at SCVi also have a dual language immersion program right now from kindergarten through 2nd grade. I believe the vision is to grow those cohorts through 5th grade eventually, but if you're looking at dual language immersion, we've got that program at SCVi. Our middle school is doing amazing things. Middle school can be an intimidating time for a kid. You go from the care and nurturing of elementary school, and then in 7th grade, you can go into a big school and kind of get lost. The great thing about SCVi's middle school is there's just a couple hundred kids, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade combined. And so they maintain that family feeling and that focus on relationships. Same is true for the high school. I think our high school this year had 240 learners from 9th through 12th grade. And so every learner gets tremendous individual care and attention. It's easy for us to keep an eye on all of our kids and develop relationships with them and their families. So if you're interested in SCVi, our classroom-based founding school up in Castaic, check it out at ileadSantaClarita.org. You can also go to ileadaguadulce.org. iLead Agua Dulce is our campus here on the east side of the valley. I say east side of the valley. Some of you think Agua Dulce is a ways away. It's really not. It's a couple minutes from where I sit in downtown Newhall right now. And iLead Agua Dulce has a sprawling, beautiful rural feel of a campus, and they're actually expanding. They're opening their high school next year. So talk about a small high school experience. We're gonna be starting up our high school, I think, with a couple dozen kids. So maybe check out ileadaguadulce.org for more information there. And if you and your kids have developed an affinity for this remote learning phenomenon, maybe you liked doing school at home, or maybe you discovered that your work can actually be done from anywhere in the world. I have a friend who teaches here in Southern California. She teaches community college. She did so from Spain for the last 6 months. And maybe your work is providing you that flexibility, but the kids are still in school, and so you can't roam around the way you want to. We do have iLead Online as an option for you. iLead Online is a fully online school. It's not homeschool. Fully online, your kids are still going to have teachers. They're going to have coaches, counselors that give them that individualized attention. They are fully accredited. And again, transitional kindergarten through 12th grade. Now, obviously, your 4-year-old's going to need a little bit of assistance logging on and getting their work, but it's a full online program with an amazing curriculum and incredible facilitators. That's what we call our teachers. And then also, if you are interested in that homeschool experience, we've got iLead Exploration, and we just get rave reviews on our homeschool program. So you can check them out at ileadonline.org or ileadexploration.org, respectively. Or you know what? Just go through the main gate at ileadschools.org, and you can be put in contact with any of our schools. Now, I am super excited about my next guest, Assemblywoman Suzette Martinez-Valladares. She's already had a couple of different things going on this morning, and we're excited that she's able to join us live now. Back in November, Suzette was elected to the California State Assembly representing the 38th District. She grew up just south of here in the San Fernando Valley, the granddaughter of a farm worker who worked alongside Cesar Chavez in the vineyards near Bakersfield. She was blessed with loving parents who valued education, family, and community responsibility. And derived from the values instilled in her by her family, Suzette has based her career on serving others, with a passion for early childhood education as well as advocacy. After college, Suzette went back to work as a district representative for former Congressman Buck McKeon. During that time, she was honored as one of Santa Clarita Valley's 40 Under 40 by the Santa Clarita Business Journal. She has also served as the executive director of Southern California Autism Speaks and as CEO of the Little Steps of Faith preschool and child care facility that works to support underserved families in the San Fernando and Santa Clarita Valleys. She and her husband Shane were blessed with their first child, daughter Charlotte, in April of 2017. She's been serving in Sacramento for the last 7 months, and it did not take long for Suzette to settle in and get to work in Sacramento. In fact, the day after she was sworn in, she introduced 2 bills to the Assembly, and she has not slowed down since. Assemblywoman Valladares, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Oh, Matt, thank you so much for having me. And I will make a correction. The day
Uh-oh.
I was sworn in, I introduced 2 bills.
You're kidding. Okay, my sources were off. The day you were sworn in.
Yes.
That is amazing. So it was kind of, you lowered the right hand and with the left you presented these bills. That is incredible. So I tell you what, let's go ahead and start there. Here you go with these 2 assembly bills in your back pocket to your swearing in ceremony. What can you tell us about AB 90 and AB 91?
Yeah. So just to kind of put this in perspective, when I first started running for state assembly, I was running under very different circumstances, right? I had no idea that once I would be elected, I would be, serving during a global pandemic,
right?
In which, the world was literally shut down and locked down. In California, over 2.5 million people were on unemployment. At the time when I, walked into Golden One to be sworn in on December 7th, we were going through a really scary second surge in the state of California.
Yeah.
When I was sworn in Golden One Stadium, which is the new stadium in Sacramento. We weren't allowed to have any family there. It was just me. We were, socially distanced, and I had my own little table in this massive arena with 80 other, members of the state assembly, and took my oath of office. It was actually the very first time since 1934 that incoming class or session voted on our organizational rules via voice vote. So very bittersweet, historic moment.
Wow, yeah.
And, I wish I could have had my family there, but that was okay. So surreal experience. And yes, I knew, along talking to businesses, having my own business background, being from our community, talking to our community stakeholders, businesses, parents, while I was campaigning, right off the bat, I knew that I wanted to do, 2 things. So I had Assembly Bill 90 and 91, and my Assembly Bill, one of those bills was aimed towards towards implementing a tax holiday for school supplies. So this is something I, came across during the campaign. Was so many of our families that were dealing with distance learning were having to buy desks, having to buy laptops, having to buy,
right,
all of the things that you need in the classroom, but having to have those setups at home. So it just kind of made me think, what can we do to kind of ease that financial burden for parents? So what we did is we wanted to propose a 2-day tax holiday for school supplies every August, and presented that bill. And the other bill that I presented was around our foster youth and protecting our foster youth and their credit. So, in my household, my neighbors were foster parents when I was growing up. And I had so many of my, childhood friends were foster kids, and they would share, some of the wrenching stories, and lives. They'd share their stories with me when I was just a little girl. And I remember, how difficult some of my friends who were in foster care's lives were. And as an adult, I'd come to find out that our foster youth are 35 times more likely to have their identity stolen before they reach the age of 18. And one of the ways that we need to protect our foster youth is ensuring that they have a firm, clean, financial foundation when they turn 18 years old, because they are on their own. So what my bill does is it actually freezes the credit of our foster youth up to age 17 and a half, and it freezes it so that no one can use their credit and destroy their credit, so that they do have a strong financial foundation when they come of age.
So that's incredible. I never really considered that, but gosh, yeah, we talk about foster youth, and they kind of start out life oftentimes with such a tremendous disadvantage, and then at 18 years old, when they age out of the program, they kind of they get a suitcase, and sometimes it's more of a trash bag with their stuff in it, and wished good luck, right? And we try to build bridges programs and things like that to help them out, but then to start your adult life with not only no network, no background, no home support, but then also to have your credit already destroyed and have to face that uphill battle is tremendous. What incredible compassion, and may I say how nimble of you, because like you said, when you started your campaign, we had no idea this was coming. And then you campaigned through all of it, which, required a lot of shifting on the fly. How do you campaign when you can't shake hands, when you can't go visit people or hold events? And then, like you said, you took office as as infections were spiking. Tell me about that tax holiday on school supplies. You said every August for 2 days, it's basically these school supplies are not going to be taxed at retailers?
Yeah, so that's exactly, what it is. And so this bill, and there's a list of items that would be approved for, and you would not have to pay sales tax. I will tell you that bill is stuck right now in Tax and Revenue, which is the committee that it was referred to. And it's stuck because of right now, with all of the money that the federal government is giving to states, one of the stipulations they put on those federal dollars was that states were not allowed to reduce taxes. So all of our would not be eligible to receive federal funding if they reduced taxes.
I see.
So any bill in the state of California right now, or earlier this year, having to deal with some type of tax cut or tax reduction was put on the back burner, unfortunately, until the federal government gives clarification. So we're waiting on clarification. And let me just tell you, the middle class in California are being crushed. The cost of living is so high, whether it's the cost of housing, the cost of energy, or the cost of gas. On July 1st, we're going to see an additional tax on gas, right? With the gas tax proposition that went into effect 3 years ago, we're going to get another hit on gas. Californians can't afford to live here, and we keep on adding taxes. So it's been a bit frustrating, and any way that I can help reduce taxes and the amount of money that working class families have to shell out every month, I'm all for it, and but it's not easy to get that across in Sacramento. They don't get it.
Yeah, gosh, to think that even higher taxes are just around the corner is incredible. Yeah. And on the surface, it sounds like that stipulation from the federal dollars that you can't lower taxes just seems horrific. But I also get it. The federal government doesn't want to just offset state tax burdens. These are monies that are intended to be of unique relief toward the pandemic. I understand. So, okay, so that one's stuck. AB 91, the foster child credit freeze until they're 17 and a half. Did that pass?
Yeah, so that actually passed the state assembly, and that will be in the state senate. I have actually four bills that passed the state assembly, including one bill around CEQA, so around wildfire mitigation on federal lands. And in this, you can appreciate this because I know we all live in an area in California where we experience wildfires.
Yep.
We had our first wildfire here in Santa Clarita just this past April. It was actually the night before I was presenting this bill, my wildfire mitigation bill. The fire in Cascade broke out. So I didn't plan it, I promise.
We wouldn't accuse you of that.
I know. It was just kind of ironic and sad that, here I am presenting my bill for wildfire, mitigation efforts. So what my bill does is it would eliminate the CEQA or make a CEQA exemption for wildfire mitigation projects on federal lands. So we know that part of the big reason we have these massive wildfires is because we have not been managing our forests. The amount of brush and debris in our forests actually is like, thousands upon thousands of little matches that the second that they're light will just go, up in flames. We have to trim, whether it's, trimming, whether it's, brush clearance, whether it's prescribed burns. We have to manage our forests to prevent wildfires, and we haven't been doing that. So on federal lands, there's already a federal process through the NEPA process, the National Environmental Protection Act. There's already a process for those projects. So California's additional layer of regulation and process just makes it more expensive, more difficult, and longer to do these wildfire mitigation projects that are vital and necessary for our community. So we're trying to have a CEQA exemption. That's on the other side of the state Senate is taking up that bill, and if passed in the state Senate, it'll go to the governor's desk, and then I have 3 other bills that I'm working on. But I know you have a whole agenda of things you want to talk about.
No, that's fine. So what else are you working on? What have you been doing that you're particularly proud of?
Oh, so a lot. I mean, I've been honored, blessed, and privileged to be able to represent our community at such a critical time in history in our state and in our community. And, one of the things that has kind of, made me believe in, the system, made me believe in the ability to actually get things done in Sacramento in a bipartisan fashion with my Assembly Bill 420, the Safe Theme Park Reopening Bill. So I'm the vice chair on sports, entertainment, on arts, entertainment, sports, and internet media. I call it the Arts and Crafts Committee because we do a lot of stuff on that committee. I'm the vice chair, and when my first job was at Six Flags Magic Mountain, I think you know this.
Yeah.
And when I was sworn into our office, our theme parks are going on, 9 months of being closed with absolutely no guidance on reopening.
And it was devastating to the local economies. Yeah.
Absolutely. Six Flags Magic Mountain, one of the largest employers in Santa Clarita, an economic engine, for the Santa Clarita Valley, obviously in its own, right, and, the amount of revenues that the park brings in for our community, but also the surrounding businesses, hotels, restaurants, retail stores, like a massive economic engine for the Santa Clarita Valley.
Right.
Has been closed for 9 months. Thousands of people, were unemployed. And they had no guidance for reopening. And having worked at a theme park, I knew that you can't just flip a switch, from one day to the next and the park is open.
Sure.
They had no guidance. So I called the chairwoman on arts that, I sit on the committee with, and I said, what are we going to do to get our theme parks open? And she was in a similar situation in that, Disneyland is in her adjacent to her district and an economic engine for her community. Okay. And she said, we got to do this. So we presented Assembly Bill 420, which is the Safe Theme Park Reopening Bill. We presented it on a Thursday morning after Assembly floor. I got on a plane. I landed in at Burbank, and my phone was blowing up with media requests. Like, the media was like, yes, like, let's talk about this. Let's talk about why we need to open our theme parks and why we need guidelines. And this thing just kind of blew up. Our bill blew up across California. We had not only, the California Chamber quickly endorsed our bill. The labor unions quickly endorsed our bill. So these two entities that are typically not on the same side always are like, yes, let's get our theme parks open. LA County Board of Supervisors unanimously supported the bill. And 2 weeks later, we had guidance for our theme park reopening. And it was a catalyst not for just theme park reopening, but for so many other businesses and industry that had no guidance. And, at that time, almost, nearly a year. So we did that in a bipartisan effort at a time where it wasn't popular in January, we're still in a surge. It wasn't popular to get out and say, our businesses need guidance. We need to get people back to work.
Yeah.
This is important. So it was a big deal.
Yeah, and like you said, to do it across the aisles, across typically conflicting interests is amazing. That's fantastic. Congratulations and thank you. We're talking this morning with Assemblywoman Suzette Martinez-Valladares. We do need to take a quick commercial break, but Assemblywoman, I want to get your thoughts on the recall campaign when we get back.
Mm-hmm.
You're listening to SCVi and I Lead Schools Eye on the Valley. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
When you look at your child, you see so much. A creative spirit that surprises you every day. A little leader growing to discover who they are, what they love, and how they can make the world better. At SCVi, we see those same amazing things. Our tuition-free TK through 12 charter school provides boundless opportunities to think critically and imagine freely, with a learning program customized just for your child. Today, that means empowering your child to bring strengths and passions to the distance learning environment. Our approach keeps your child and family in step while online, inspiring your learner to keep growing without missing a beat. At SCVi, your child will find even more ways to grow with projects and activities in STEAM, robotics, theater, music, and sports. With the only international baccalaureate program in Santa Clarita, SCVi produces graduates who excel at top universities and in life. For enrollment information or to learn more about our distance learning program, visit ileadsantaclarita.org. iLead Schools. Free to think, inspired to lead.
KHTS strives to give the Santa Clarita Valley all the information they need. And when our computers aren't working the way they should, we call Resurgence your true source for IT. Resurgence provides outstanding customer service while also providing the highest technical ability. They strive to do what's best to improve and protect your business. For more information on Resurgence, call 349-4114 or visit resurgenceit.com.
Why did Mercedes-Benz of Valencia win the Dealer of Excellence Award in 2019?
Because we strive to provide the most outstanding sales experience.
Mercedes-Benz of Valencia COO Chris Paz.
We know you have high expectations. Our stellar team will meet and exceed your expectations. That's why we were named Mercedes Best of the Best, placing us in the top 10% of all Mercedes dealers nationwide.
Find out how you can lease a new Mercedes for unbelievably low monthly payments. Details at mbzvalencia.com. If you need help at home or at the office, call Made For You. Made For You is a locally owned, bonded, and licensed cleaning service with over 20 years of experience. All employees are vetted for your protection. No need to buy products or equipment. The Made For You staff comes complete with everything needed to make your home or office cleaner than ever. Hire Made For You one time, as needed, or an ongoing basis. No room is off limits. Laundry and ironing services are also available. Call Made For You for a free estimate. 255-2922. That's 255-2922. Healthcare can be difficult if you're underinsured or have Medi-Cal. Samuel Dixon Family Health Center can help. Services are available on a sliding fee schedule. The mission of the Samuel Dixon Family Health Center is to give the Santa Clarita Valley access to affordable, quality primary care. There are 3 locations to serve you: Canyon Country, Newhall, and Valverde. Go to sdfhc.org for more information and to find the location most convenient for you.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi and I Lead Schools Eye on the Valley, and I am your host, Matt Watson. We're fortunate enough to be talking with Assemblywoman Suzette Martinez-Valladares this morning. We were talking before the break about some of the legislation that you introduced and how you kind of, you really had to shift and then shift some more as you campaigned through the craziness of 2020. You took office as infection rates were hitting, their all-time highs, and our hospitals were just jam-packed. And now it looks like, we're trying to move beyond COVID. Public service announcement, rates are going back up a little bit, friends, so make sure that you're still being careful. But Suzette, how do you feel we've done as a state in handling the pandemic as it ramped up during its worst of times and then now coming out of it?
Right. So, Matt, I feel like at the ground level, at the community level, our businesses, our community members have all stepped up to the plate this past, year and a half during COVID. Businesses have done their part. People have done their part. Moms have done their part. And not to say dads haven't done their part too. But I mean, the pandemic has overwhelmingly, been challenging for women who, our unemployment rate is, still in California, at 8%. At the height of the pandemic, it was 16%. But of the 8% now and 16% previously, the vast majority of the unemployment rate was working moms that decided to stay home because they needed to take care of their children, because they couldn't afford or didn't have access to childcare or they weren't in the classroom, right?
Right. If kids couldn't go back to school, moms couldn't go back to work oftentimes. Yeah.
Exactly. And, as much as this isn't, the 1950s anymore, moms, it, overwhelmingly usually ends at the feet of mom.
Sure.
So, it's been really hard, but I think our community, our businesses have done their part, and we have been, resilient at one of the most challenging times, in the world, really. So it's made me really proud to see, to be a part of that with our community. Now, on the other side, I think, government has navigated this horrifically in the state of California.
Okay.
Whether it is, this lack of, whether it was the closures of business, which, I understand the need for it. The problem was the lack of guidance, the additional pressures, taxes, regulations placed on business. All of these things, were government's fault. Government made it hard. Government closed down nail salons. Government closed down restaurants. Then said restaurants you can reopen. Then said you need to close. Then said you can open, and then you need to close. We've lost over 20,000 small businesses in California. Permanently. Businesses here in Santa Clarita that have been open for 30 years. We're a generation, of blood, sweat, and tears were closed.
Yeah.
Jobs were lost. People moved out of the state. Because of government, mandates in the state of California. The vaccine rollout, another thing that was, horrific. We had known, what was Operation Warp Speed at the national level. We knew a vaccine was the world's priority, right? And the brightest minds in all of the nation were working on a vaccine, and and not just the nation and in the world.
Right.
We knew it was coming, right? We were given the administration in California knew a vaccine was coming. It was, pretty clear that we might have that vaccine in November. And there had been absolutely no plan. After months of knowing we were going to have a vaccine, there was no plan, which is why we had a failed rollout. Wow. The rollout cost us lives. And it disproportionately cost us the lives of our first responders, our essential workforce, and our Latino community. I think that, it was a horrific mismanagement. And then, I could talk about this for a long time, Matt. And then lastly, the gross, I'm calling it gross negligence and failure and mismanagement of EDD has been the most disturbing thing I've probably ever witnessed. In the first recession in 2008, or the last recession, I should say, in 2008, the state auditor, we were in a similar situation where the EDD was, not keeping up with the need of benefits, effectively or efficiently. And the state auditor issued a report and said, the EDD needs to do, they gave a list of different things that they needed to do. Not operate in silos. The right hand needed to talk to the left.
Yeah.
They had an antiquated, system. They gave a list of these things to do. None of them were done 10 years later. None of them. And I have legislation that, I've co-authored that's going to require that EDD implement the state auditors and the LAO's requests. Right now, there are 1.2 million people waiting for their benefits.
Ouch. Oh.
1.2 million people. Our office, our community, since I've been here, has dealt with 1,000 plus people in our community that have not had access to their benefits, who can't get a hold of anyone at EDD. EDD is hanging up on people. And mind you, I understand the stress of the employees at EDD, but it comes from, at the end of the day, of the mismanagement of that agency and the top, and at the top, it's the administration. So there's been a lot of things that have been done wrong and frustrating throughout this pandemic. It's been really tragic and sad. And my office is trying to help people with EDD benefits. So if you need help, please call our office.
Okay, fantastic. Appreciate that. So that kind of leads me into my next question. A lot of these struggles that we've been through really helped to ramp up the recall effort against Governor Newsom. And just a couple days ago, it cleared its final hurdle, and there will be a recall election here coming up soon. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so it's my understanding that the Secretary of State will soon be actually calling a date for the recall election. For this, I'm going to call it a nonpartisan election. I know that people are trying to call it a Republican election, but the reality is that the, over 2.1 million voters and signatures that were gathered are made up of Republicans, Democrats, no party preference, Greenpeace, Californians that are frustrated with the mismanagement of California. Every day, nowadays we talk about woke culture, but what I think we've been seeing in California, and particularly, as a result, this recall, is Californians awakening. Californians, for the first time, paying attention to what government is and is not doing. And, it hasn't, whether you're a mom and your kid was not in school, if you're, a business owner or a nail salon owner that came here as an immigrant and opened a nail salon and, lost your business this year, whether you are, a high school student that missed your prom and, an in-person graduation, you're feeling it. You've been affected. And, the state of California, the crisis level that we are with homelessness, lack of affordable housing, the affordability crisis, the cost of energy, the cost of gas, all of these things, everyone is now paying attention to. And I think that that's where this recall stems from. So in our system here in California, we have a mechanism when government isn't working, when leadership isn't working, we have a mechanism to say, hey, it's not working. We need to reassess our leadership. That election is going to take place most likely in September. It's what I'm hearing on the rumor mill in Sacramento. And it's going to be, an opportunity for Californians to weigh in. And, even beyond what I think we, haven't done well in the state of California, the voters are going to have a choice to say, did we get it right? Are we on the right track? I understand the frustration and I understand, the reasoning.
Yeah, certainly interesting times. Assemblywoman Suzette Martinez-Valladares is with us today. We do need to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to touch on two topics. One that is near and dear to me and my family, and that is mental health care for teens here in the Santa Clarita Valley. And I also want to talk to you about what's coming up in the next portion of your term. This is SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson. We'll be right back on your hometown station, KHTS.
Join the Canyon Theater Guild for in-person workshops for children up to 17 years old this summer. Kids become their favorite fairy tale characters in Character Matters, Return to the Fairy Tale Advice Council. Juniors take to the high seas in Dave the Brave and the Pirateers, facing crocodiles, sirens, and the notorious pirate Lady Legs. Be our guest with the stars and Disney's Beauty and the Beast Jr. Call 661-799-2702 or visit canyontheater.org.
Excellence isn't just a word, it is what we deliver. Vanguard Protection Group is committed to providing its clients with the highest echelon of protective services available. Our clients not only receive the security services they contract for, but also reports that are well-written, articulate, and thorough. Our patrol officers operate at the highest levels and have an impressive rapport with local law enforcement. With military, police, private policing, and courtroom experience, you can trust that we have the strength to deliver our promise of excellence. Contact Vanguard Protection by calling 661-753-3611 or visiting their website at vanguardprotectiongroup.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow, here to tell you about my Giza Dream bed sheets. I made sure that they would be everything you'd ever want in a sheet set. I started with the world's finest cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region where the Sahara Desert, the Nile River, and the Mediterranean Sea all meet. The long staple cotton makes my Giza Dream sheets ultra soft and durable. They come with extra wide pillowcases to fit over any pillow and extra deep pockets to fit over any mattress. Not only that, they come with my 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. And now you can get the best sheets ever for the best price ever. When you buy one of my Giza Dream bed sheet sets, you'll get another one absolutely free. I personally guarantee that they'll be the most comfortable sheets you'll ever own.
Go to mypillow.com and use the promo code KHTS or call 800-973-3927 and use the promo code KHTS. That's 800-973-3927. Or go to mypillow.com and use the promo code KHTS.
Summer is here. Try the new Charlie Ice Cold Drink, named after social media megastar dancer Charlie D'Amelio. Charlie's go-to coffee order is a Dunkin' Cold Brew with whole milk and 3 pumps of caramel swirl. It's officially on Dunkin's menu nationwide as the Charlie. You'll love it. Dunkin' also has new all-day sandwiches and new donut varieties. Order ahead with the Dunkin' app and accumulate points. Located on Bouquet Canyon in the Lowe's Shopping Center and on Sierra Highway in Canyon Country. Both with curbside pickup, Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub, and Postmates. Or use the drive-thru at Sierra Highway. Santa Clarita runs on Dunkin'.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi, and I lead School's Eye on the Valley with your host, Matt Watson. I am joined today by Assemblywoman Suzette Martinez-Valladares. So happy that you could join us, Assemblywoman Valladares. Thank you so much for your time. I mentioned before we took a break, I wanted to, maybe selfishly, I wanted to talk to you about a cause that has become really, really important to myself and my family. One, because, it's something that we've dealt with in our family, but two, because it really is reaching crisis levels across the country and particularly here in the Santa Clarita Valley. I want to ask about mental health care for our kids and our teens. We all know that our kids are under more pressure than ever before, whether it's because of social media. The pandemic certainly has not helped. And, if your teen's having a mental health emergency, maybe there's been, God forbid, a threat or an attempted suicide, our local hospital, Henry Mayo, is fantastic for those emergency situations. But if they determine that your child needs to be admitted for even short-term inpatient care, you've got to leave the valley for that kind of care. We don't have any inpatient mental health care facilities or capabilities at our local hospital. Now, from what I've been told, because it's something that I've been digging into, it's primarily a funding and a staffing issue. It's something that quite honestly costs a lot of money, and not a lot of people's insurance covers that kind of care, or maybe not completely. And then it's also hard to find doctors to staff a unit like that. So, Suzette, what, if anything, can be done in Sacramento to help?
Yeah, so, similarly, Matt, this issue is near and dear to me. The pandemic, I think, for our youth has brought this to even higher of a crisis level. But for me, it's personally affected my family too. Mm-hmm. I have a niece who, since the age of 13, would cut herself, would has attempted suicide 5 different times.
Oh, Suzette.
And my family quickly found out what you found out.
Yeah.
Is that we already knew that within mental health services in the state of California, in our community in LA County, there is not sufficient enough beds.
Right.
But then when it's pediatric, when it's anyone who's younger than 18, that shortage is exponentially higher. And we found the same thing with my niece. Hospitals, if they could, would hold her on a 72-hour hold, and then attempt to transfer her to inpatient care at a facility, and those facilities were not local.
Right.
I think the one of the closest facilities for youth is in Tarzana, but then there are facilities in Tustin, in Ventura County, that are far from families. And one of the things that you do need is families need access. Not only do patients need access, but families need to be close, to help be a part of that healing process.
Absolutely.
So one, we have a problem with beds for inpatient. And then we also have a problem with outpatient. And there's 2 types of outpatient. There is, your standard outpatient where you receive therapies, you see a psychologist, or psychologist, therapist, psychiatrist. And there's also intensive outpatient services, which is for, that middle, where you're not in a hospital, you're not in residential, you need more help than traditional outpatient services, you need intensive outpatient services, right? So I look at it as these 3 categories and tiers. So one of the major problems is, yes, there's not enough beds. We don't have enough resources. We don't have the workforce. We do not have enough professionals with expertise for mental health services to meet our needs, one. So the state needs to incentivize growing, those healthcare professionals. I'm a part of the Problem Solvers Caucus. It's a bipartisan caucus in Sacramento made up of 5 Republicans, 5 Democrats, 1 no party preference. And we sent a letter, to the governor and to the legislature saying, we need a healthcare renaissance. We need to invest in healthcare, invest in the healthcare, grow our healthcare professionals, nurses, paraprofessionals, therapists, like the entire. We need to grow our healthcare workforce here in California. It's a huge problem. The resource problem I'm looking into. So in 2004, voters in California passed Proposition 63, which is a 1% wealth tax on anyone who makes an income of more than $1 million a year.
Okay.
So since 2004, there is this pot of money that we have no idea where it goes. And it's a lot of money. And me and my team, were just made aware of this money and this lack of, transparency of these dollars. So dollars are there. We need to be using those dollars. It's shameful that we've had, these dollars there since 2004, and it's not making a dent. So my team's going to be looking into, possibly calling an audit on, that account to see where the money's being spent.
Okay.
But I've also, it's at the forefront of what I'm working on and supporting. I recently supported AB 988, and 988 is actually going to be the new 911, right? And 988 intention is that if you're having, a mental health crisis or breakdown, instead of calling 911 and, getting a response from law enforcement, you'll get a response from healthcare professionals. I'm really excited about that bill. I think it's long overdue and much needed, and one small step in the right direction in terms of getting people help immediately during a crisis.
Yeah, definitely. We're doing a pretty good job nationally of putting mental health care center stage. I want to get to the day where we talk about mental health care the same way we talk about physical health care, right? When you move into a new town, a new city, your neighbors will tell you they've got the best dentist, they've got the best pediatrician, but nobody says, "Oh, I've got the greatest therapist. You need to see him." And when your aunt or somebody in your family, God forbid, gets cancer, it's something that that nobody's ashamed of. It happens, right? And you fight it.
Yeah.
Same thing with mental health care. We got to stop
Yeah.
sweeping it under the rug. We've got to stop ignoring it. And gosh, if you say that there's money out there that we just have to dig up, to allocate, to help get the services that are so desperately needed, let's work on that. Suzette, you know how much of a pain in the neck I can be, so I'm going to follow up with you on this. This is, like I
Yes.
said, it's something that nearly devastated my family as well, and we've got to help our kids out. And our adults too.
Yeah.
So
the more partners, the better. And, I'll just add this amount real fast. I know you're going to move on to another question here, but it's personal for me too. I talked about it on the assembly floor. After I had my daughter, I had pretty severe postpartum depression. And, for me, who I'm savvy, I'm resourceful, finding a therapist, a psychologist, that understood postpartum was really difficult and really challenging. And it also is heartbreaking to think that, how many other, women out there, are suffering from postpartum and don't have, the resources and or access to treatment.
Yeah, definitely. If you're in pain, whether it's physical, mental, or otherwise, see a doctor, get some help.
Yeah.
You've touched on it a couple of times, but let's look forward. It's amazing to think about it, Suzette. You're already over a quarter of a way through your first term here. Can you believe it? So during the next 70-75% of your term, what's coming up? What are your plans? What are your priorities? What else do you see in the future here as we continue to move forward?
Yeah. So, my priorities as, your representative are policy-wise focusing on wildfire mitigation, on public safety power shutoffs, and, how, horrific and detrimental they've been to our community. I've been fighting, to lessen those, Southern California, Edison. I pushed them early on. I'm like, you need to better segment your grids. There's no reason that a community that, isn't meeting the threshold for a public safety power shutoff under the requirements should not have power.
Right.
And for the length of time. So I've been working on that. Been working on, acting as a liaison and trying to get, people the benefits that they need through EDD. My office is here to serve our community. So please reach out. It is my priority. And, again, 7 months in, right? Yeah, a quarter into my first term. I'm just, really excited about serving our community. And really not putting the partisan politics aside. Both here in the district and in Sacramento, people are tired of partisan politics. They want our legislators to get things done. I joke sometimes that, I like to wear the 3/4-inch sleeve jackets because my sleeves are already rolled up and I'm ready to get to work.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's been rewarding. It's my first of everything, right? So my first session, my first House of Origin, end of session. I'm going to be in the district in the month of January, because we're going to be out of session. So I'm really looking forward, to meeting with more people in person because things are open now. Really, excited to be back home for a month.
Yeah.
What I kind of anticipate, for the legislature over, the next year and a half is, hopefully this growing group of, legislators that want to get stuff done and want to put the partisan politics aside. This last, in the legislature, there's something called the House of Origin, and it's the deadline for which assembly bills have to be passed out of our assembly house.
Suzette, I don't mean to cut you off, but we are up against it here. Thank you so much for all the work that you're doing. We can't thank you enough for joining us today, along with Dawn Evenson, Amanda Fisher, Big T, and everybody else that's helped out. Join us again every Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. I am Matt Watson. This is SCVi, and I lead Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS.